Hello gentlemen and welcome back to F1 2020 here for the penultimate race of Season 3 of my team. Championship battle is hotting up considerably. If you didn't watch the last episode of Mexico, definitely go check it out. It was a typical Mexico race for myself. And a much needed turn in results. Winning that race allowed us to gain some points, some very valuable points over Daniel. The gap is now 10 points. As we see in Q2 there, we actually qualified on the mediums, so we're starting the race on the yellow wall tyres, and Daniel is starting on the softs, which is a very interesting strategy decision by him. In Q3 we went out on a used set of softs and we came P4, yes, with a 104.6. Hopefully we'll be aiming to improve, maybe get a top like a front row start. However, there is going to be some interesting shenanigans that goes on before the start of the race. But anyway, on our final lap of the session now, as you can see we gain just over half a tenth through the first section of corners. So keep it to the left hand side to get the DRS as early as possible. Running into turn 4, braking just before the 50 metre board. 4th gear to get the rotation and then back up to 5th. We've gained quite a considerable amount of time through that section of corners now. 6th gear through this double right-hander. Run all the way to the outside of the track to open up the corner a bit more. 4th gear, short shifting up to 5th. Back down to 3rd and then short shifting once again to minimise wheel spin. And now through this right-hander, we don't really hit the apex there, we run a bit wide. We'll have to short shift again, but we are gaining time on our previous best lap. Heading through the final sector split, we're half a tenth up on Hamilton's previous best time. And we get a fantastic exit going out that final corner. And now we just need to hug the left as possible, minimise the run to the line. And we should improve by about 3.1 tenths. As we cross the line, it's P2 with, I believe, a 103.3. So a very decent lap there. Happy to get P2. And yeah, that was interesting. So 6 tenths behind our teammate. So Daniel's looking very strong to get the win here. Obviously, qualifying and the race are completely different, but yeah, the race is going to be it's going to have an interesting start to it, which I'll explain when we're sorting the strategy out. Currently beating Bottas in the rivalry. The rivalry is going to end after this the end of this season, and it looks like we should be on course to beat him, as I don't really think we'll lose out in the race to the Mercedes. Team Acclaim, obviously it's always going up at this point, where me and Daniel are basically getting 1-2s every single race. But I'll join you for the start of the race for the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Formula One returns to Sao Paulo once again with the stage set for what promises to be another classic Brazilian Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel famously clinched his 3rd championship here in 2012, and in 2016, Max Verstappen treated us to one of the finest wet weather drives of all time. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here in Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. 2 very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junção into one of the 2 DRS zones will be the key to any overtaking prospects today. Anthony Davidson is alongside me as usual for the race today. Let's talk about red. That was a great way to this weekend.
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Daniel Ricciardo has a clear view ahead from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Fiat, Alexander Albon, and Leclerc, Matsushita, Stroll, Aitken, and Sergio Perez, Sainz, Verstappen, Pierre Gasly, and Russell, Norris, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Roman Grosjean, Latifi, Ocon, De Vries. They've taken the grid penalty and red. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So as you can see there, we took a grid place penalty. I believe that was for the energy store, and it was 22 places, which was interesting because I've seen the AI take engine penalties. Now, obviously, I don't know what they're for, but by like previous times when I've taken engine penalties, it's been 5 or 10 places, and the AI always get 5 place grid penalties, but we have a 22 place grid penalty. So maybe it's different for the energy store. I did look it up on the FIA rules, but nothing was there. Anyway, I can't remember what strategy we're doing. I think we're doing a one-stop mediums to softs as we're underway now with absolute melee going into turn 1, as we're going to go to the inside of quite a few cars here. We started P21, exiting turns 1 and 2 now as we get shoved off the track there by Latifi. Very aggressive move from the Williams driver there, but we hold the position. We're up into P16 and we don't have any front wing damage. Now, this is not exactly the start I wanted, having that grid place penalty. I might as well have just not qualified because I didn't expect it to be 22 places, but whatever. Yeah, Daniel is looking set to win this race without any real difficulties. We get to the side of Gasly and Magnussen, who were too busy focusing on each other. We managed to get both of those guys in one corner as we get pushed wide there by Magnussen. He sticks to our rear tyre and we nearly span the car, but luckily we were able to catch it and we're up into P14. So making very good progress here on this opening lap. Now we're going to be looking at George Russell in the Alfa Romeo. Hopefully get him going into turn 1, as obviously we are considerably faster in this car. Let's see, yeah, Ricciardo's already pulled like a 2 or 3 second lead over the Mercedes behind him, and going across the line to start lap 2. We're going to go around the outside of Russell, and that is P13. Next up is Norris and Verstappen, who are fighting quite heavily, and Norris gets a pretty poor run out of turn 3, so we're going to go up the inside of him. I might try and get Verstappen as well, but I decided against it. As it was the closing speed really wasn't there. The closing speed was definitely there though, as we get up the inside into P11, up the inside of the Flying Dutchman, and that's another position gain as we've got Kvyat there, who is actually a lap down. It goes slowly for some reason, which is very odd to see. So we're going to take a quick look at the replay camera to try and figure out why he's going so slowly. It could potentially be a puncher, is probably the only reason, but then again he would have made it round by now as we going to cycle to his car. He doesn't actually have a puncher, so maybe he's just got a really faulty engine or something. Who knows? As you can see, I'm trying to look at every single tyre, but there's nothing's deflated. Maybe it's a not visible puncher. Who knows? It could just be an engine failure of some kind and he's not pulling off to the side of the track. But yeah, that's a shame for the AlphaTauri driver. He could have scored some decent points this race. I believe AlphaTauri are in quite a close championship battle for the midfield, so that's going to hurt them this race. Now, as we resume racing, we're going to hopefully get past Carlos Sainz here, going to turn 1, as we dive up the inside. And we do indeed get the position on him, so that's P10. Next up is the Renault of Jack Aitken, who's doing well inside the points here. Good showing from the rookie, my former teammate. So hopefully there's no love loss here. As we get a big slap of oversteer going around the exit of turn 4, so that means we aren't able to get him going into turn 5 or turn 6. But now we are close to the back of him. DRS is enabled, obviously it's lap 3, so we'll probably fly past him anyway without DRS, but we're going to use it. He has DRS on Stroll, so this is actually going to make the overtake a little bit more difficult than what I anticipated. But we're very good on the brakes going to turn 1. He covers it off very late, but we get up the inside of him, and that is P9 for us. So next up is Stroll. Stroll is going to be pretty easy pickings, as he isn't within the DRS of Matsushita, who's actually put in a good performance to stay in P7. We're checking the weather from Jeff there, but I don't think he's scheduled to raid in this race, as I will catch up to the back of Stroll at the end of lap 4. Hopefully we'll get to do a move on him into turn 1. That was very bad English. Of course we're going to get a move done on the racing point around the outside. No real contest there with DRS and overtake enabled. And that puts us up into position 8. So it's now Matsushita, who's 1.3 seconds up the road, but his softs will be dying off and we should be able to get him pretty soon. So looking for a move now on Matsushita. Go to turn 1, got the DRS, got the overtake enabled, and we'll probably go to the inside as he's covering the outside pretty well. And up the inside we go. As Leclerc looks up heavily, overtaking Perez ahead, so that's going to harm them as we get our first exceeding track limits warning. Got to watch out through our first couple of corners, especially for track limits warnings, and then the exit of this corner. Carrying a bit too much speed is here, can give you one. But Leclerc is holding up Perez an absolute treat here. Gonna hopefully get it with the inside. Going into turn 1 of Checo, here we go, down the inside, nearly drill the back of Leclerc, as he's going very slowly for some reason, don't know what the game is there. But that's now P6. Daniel's set to win this race unless there's a safety car. He's already, you can see that purple dot go through the second sector all on his lonesome now. He's going to be at least a pit stop ahead by the time we get into P2. And before we think about getting to P2 though, we've got to think about getting Charles Leclerc, which we are going to hopefully do now on this lap. DRS and overtake enabled, the closing speed is just insane, and yeah, the move's done well before the corner on that Ferrari. Seems to be lacking a bit of power, maybe running an older engine component, or just typically down on power as it is a Ferrari. And now looking for a move on Albon on lap 13. Going to go to the outside and around the outside of turn 1. It gives the inside for turn 2 if needed, which it isn't. And we're up into the podium places as Ricciardo pits on the previous lap for hard tyres. So he's doing the one stop, but we're going to stretch it out and go to the softs at the end of the race. Is now looking for a move on Hamilton, or on Bottas first and then Hamilton. Lap 14, we're going to get Valtteri here. He's got DRS on his teammate as well, but hopefully we should be able to get him. Go for a big lunge at the inside of turn 1. You bet we are. And that looks to be P2 as he yields the place pretty easily. We get a big slap of oversteer on the exit, but doesn't really matter as the position is gained. And next up is Hamilton. Hopefully we're going to pull a typical move on Hamilton, as actually he goes into the pits. We would have got in with the DRS and the overtake and the slipstream, but he pulls in. Looks like he'll be going onto a set of the hards as well, as there's 20 laps left in this race. We're going to be extending to lap 20, I believe, and then going on to a set of softs at the end. Ricciardo's only 4 seconds behind, make that 3 as we go into the pit lane. On lap 19, actually, we're going to be going in early for a set of the softs. And the gap to Hamilton is 20 seconds, so we should emerge ahead of the Mercedes driver who was battling Albon at the time as well. And coming into the pits here, soft tyres have been bolted on. We should be good for fastest lap. Although saying that it might be close given Daniel's pace on the hards at the end of a race is always very strong. And as we emerge from the exit of the pit lane, we're 2.5 seconds ahead of Hamilton and we're on the softs, so yeah, we were very good at the end of the soft stint. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get fastest lap, as you can see we did improve to 106.2. That still wasn't good enough, and I saw that I wasn't going to catch up to Daniel. And I saw that I had a gap to Albon behind, so I decided to come in, put in a fresh set of softs again, as we do have a new set to use, or at least I think that is a brand new set of softs. I always keep 2 sets of softs for a race anyway, so it is definitely new. And we're hopefully going to go for fastest lap at the end of the race. Currently I don't know what the fastest lap that Daniel holds is, so hopefully we'll be able to get him. As emerging for the pits, yeah, we're fine in terms of losing P2. And here we are, we're currently purple sector 1 and 2, we got held up by the Williams there of Latifi, I believe. Yes, it was Latifi. And running to the line, unfortunately he didn't give us DRS, but it should be a fastest lap, and I believe we did get it in the end. So, yeah. We only lost 6 points this race. I reckon it had been close between myself and Daniel for the win, as we would have definitely done different strategies, but to come away from last to get P2 and only lose 6 points. 4 points is the gap now, but yeah, we still hold the high ground going into the final race in Abu Dhabi.
After the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
So here are the race results. As you can see, we just got the fastest lap at the end of the race by half a second. So losing only 6 points to Daniel, means the gap is 4 points, as I previously said. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that we managed to get back up to P2 after starting last, but then again, it was annoying that we had to take that penalty to start off with, just because it was, I think it's pretty unfair. Like 22 places is a bit of an odd number. Like, I feel that for next game it should tell you what your grid penalty will be, because I always thought it was either 5 or 10 places for an engine component, and as I said, I did look at the FIA rulebook, but then again it is Codemaster, so they probably just slapped a number on it. They rolled a set of dice and they just slapped a number on with whatever the dice made up. But yeah, championship battle, there isn't really much else going on. Battle for P6 is looking quite close. 3 drivers in it there. In terms of the constructors, there's quite some close battles going on there as well, but the main focus is on the drivers. As we head into the final race in Abu Dhabi, I have a 4-point lead, so all I have to do is, well, if Daniel, okay, the chances of either of us not finishing first and second is extremely low. So basically I have to beat Daniel. I cannot come second. Even if I get fastest lap, he will still gain enough points over me. If by some miracle Daniel comes second and I'm third, or like I'm not first and someone else wins, then I just have to be within 4 points of him, because I do believe I have more wins, or at least the wins will be tied. So yeah, it's an interesting proposition that's going on, but basically my aim is to beat Daniel on track, just to be safe. So hopefully we can do that. It's Abu Dhabi. I do love that track. A very strong round there, so yeah, hopefully we can get our first ever Drivers' Championship. It's very close. Daniel will either get his first or I'll get my first. Either way, it's going to be Chungus Khan dominating this season, so yeah. It's been a good season. I've enjoyed it a lot, and it all comes down to the final race, just how I'd want it to go. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please do like, share, subscribe, and once again let me know who you think will win the Drivers' Championship in the comments below, and I'll catch you all for some more F1 2020 content very soon.